Are your people working hard but not reaching their full potential? The problem is not effort, it is development. At the Modern Observer Group, we transform workforce development into real performance. Our human-centered achievement programs help your team think better, communicate stronger, and execute at a higher level. That means higher employee engagement, stronger leadership, and measurable results across your organization. If you want a workforce that performs, leads, and delivers, it is time to invest in your people. Visit modernobserver.com and discover how the Modern Observer Group helps you build a workforce that wins.
A peace deal moves forward. SpaceX sets financial records. Paramount gets approval to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. The United States and Iran reached a deal Sunday that President Trump said would reopen the Strait of Hormuz and end the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif of Pakistan, a critical negotiating partner, announced the news on X around 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time Sunday. Both President Trump and Iran's National Security Council confirmed the deal's existence, with Trump saying on Truth Social that it includes the toll-free opening of the Strait of Hormuz and the immediate removal of the U.S. blockade. Iranian officials told the New York Times that Iran had held off on finalizing the agreement until after midnight local time so it wouldn't be reached on President Trump's birthday. The deal does not address Iran's nuclear ambitions nor release sanctions on Iran, but agrees to continue negotiations on those issues. The agreement does include a ceasefire in Lebanon, which neither Israel nor Hezbollah has agreed to. Furthermore, over the weekend, Iranian officials touted their close relationship with China and Russia. Critics of the deal have pointed out it is no better than the 2015 treaty, which Iran violated and Trump pulled out of. The Israel Defense Forces announced the elimination of a senior Hezbollah commander who was accused of orchestrating the 2007 kidnapping and murder of 5 American soldiers. The IDF said they killed Hezbollah terrorist Ali Musa Dakdak Friday in a precise strike targeting the Hezbollah leader in southern Lebanon, south of the Litani River. The IDF hailed the accomplishment on X, stating Dakdak played a central role in advancing terrorist attacks and combat operations against Israel and IDF soldiers. In 2007, he orchestrated the kidnapping and murder of 5 American soldiers. Trump held separate calls with Russian President Putin and Ukraine's President Zelensky ahead of this week's G7 summit in France. Putin suggested Zelensky come to Moscow for a meeting, an offer the Ukrainian president has repeatedly turned down, while Zelensky said he and Trump agreed to continue peace discussions in person at the G7. Meanwhile, British Royal Marines seized a Russian Shadow Fleet oil tanker in the English Channel on Sunday, the first time Britain has acted alone to board one of the vessels Russia uses to secretly move fuel and dodge sanctions. The Shadow Fleet, which Britain says numbers more than 700 ships, carries about 3/4 of Russia's sanctioned oil and serves as a key economic lifeline for the Kremlin. President Trump announced that the Tren de Aragua leader Niño Guerrero has been killed in an American strike. Guerrero was the leader of the gang called one of the most bloodthirsty terrorist organizations on planet Earth by Trump in a post on Truth Social. The attack was coordinated with Venezuelan officials, Trump said, adding that Tren de Aragua terrorists no longer have a safe haven in that country. Trump has taken a series of extraordinary actions against the gang, including a series of strikes on small boats his administration has accused of smuggling drugs to America, the AP reported. Tren de Aragua has been labeled by the United States as a terrorist organization whose members flooded into the United States during the Biden administration. The United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine refugees in the Near East fired 70 staff members working in Gaza after long-standing claims from Israeli authorities that the agency is a collaborator with the Hamas terrorist group. Today, the Commissioner General ad interim of UNRWA, Christian Saunders, took the decision to terminate the employment of 70 UNRWA staff members in Gaza with immediate effect, the agency wrote in a Friday statement. UNRWA insisted its decision was not an admission of guilt, but one taken, quote, to mitigate safety and security risks for the refugees the agency serves under its mandate and for UNRWA personnel and premises. SpaceX broke every record in its Friday market debut, capping the biggest IPO in history and making Elon Musk the world's first trillionaire. The rocket and AI company raised roughly $75 billion at $135 per share, nearly 3 times more than any company in history. The stock opened at $150 under the ticker SPCX and climbed past $169, pushing the company's valuation above $2 trillion. Musk, who owns about 42% of SpaceX and controls roughly 85% of its voting power, saw his net worth top an estimated $1.1 trillion. The IPO also made millionaires and multimillionaires of around 4,400 current and former employees, showcasing the power of capitalism. In response, Senator Elizabeth Warren has demanded a wealth tax, and Senator Bernie Sanders has stated the cap on Social Security must be raised, both in an effort to impose excessive taxes on Musk. Maine Democratic gubernatorial candidate Graham Plattner vowed that Musk would be the last trillionaire. Anthropic on Friday announced it's disabled access to its Fable 5 and Mythos 5 artificial intelligence models to comply with an export control directive from the U.S. government that cited national security authorities. The company said it received an order at 5:21 p.m. Eastern Time instructing it to suspend all access to the models by any foreign national, whether inside or outside the United States, including foreign national Anthropic employees. Anthropic abruptly disabled the models for all of its customers in order to ensure compliance, but said all of its other models will not be affected. Paramount's takeover of Warner Brothers Discovery got the go-ahead from the Department of Justice. The Justice Department's Antitrust Division has approved the $111 billion deal for Paramount Skydance to purchase Warner Brothers Discovery, signing off without requiring any concessions or divestitures. While the decision is a big win for a deal that has drawn opposition from movie industry heavyweights and liberal organizations, the merger could still face legal challenges from states, including California, where the Attorney General has been reviewing the deal. President Trump celebrated his 80th birthday with a UFC cage fight. The UFC mixed martial arts event went ahead on the South Lawn of the White House last night, despite the threat of thunderstorms. The UFC Freedom 250 fights began with Trump and UFC CEO Dana White walking a red carpet from the White House to the octagon before the two took their places cage-side among the 4,300 spectators for the invite-only event. Also in the crowd to take in the 7 fights were Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg, Paramount Skydance CEO David Ellison, and podcaster Joe Rogan. For the first time in 53 years, New York rules the NBA. Jalen Brunson scored 45 points, including 13 straight for New York in the fourth quarter, and the Knicks beat the San Antonio Spurs 94-90 in Game 5 of the NBA Finals on Saturday night. The Knicks won the series 4-1, rallying from double-digit deficits in all 4 of those victories. The deficit was 16 on Saturday night. Brunson and the Knicks were never fazed. "I have no words," Brunson, the NBA Finals MVP, said during the on-court celebration. "It's everything I ever dreamed of." That's the Raw Naked Truth for June 15th, 2026. Remember to like and subscribe to The Raw Naked Truth wherever you listen to podcasts. You can catch every episode of the Raw Naked Truth Daily News Brief, as well as our sister podcast, Carnivore Radio, with news analysis and commentary, and the rest of the Xvadio Podcast Network at xvadio.com, the Apple Podcast app, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.